We can show my little angel.
Good morning.
Show the little angel.
Nancy's got a little angel to show. Every crime a Christian defends Trump, an angel loses its lunch. Yeah, it's a cute meme.
Mm-hmm. And I like the little angel. Barf. Okay. I had a child that barfed. Sean was horrible. I mean, he looks so sweet now. And a friend of mine said, "How do you do it? You always hold him so he hits everything but you and him." So people would accuse me of that now. But yes, it's been an interesting week.
Very interesting. It's been, Twitter was fun and social media. I seen the Washington Post had an article out about the fight between Elon and his black eye.
Oh, but was that Besant? Besant?
Yeah, they're saying that Besant was angry about Doge, you're not really helping, which is like, hello, he tells the truth behind the scenes. Elon got a little mad and chest bumped him, and that's when Besant clocked him.
I love the maturity of this cabinet.
KK Caroline saying this morning, oh, things do get a little heated in the White House, but it's no big deal. They've all made up. So, yeah. At least Rand Paul's still out there putting out factual numbers on Fox News.
Well, what was it? 36 members of Congress that are MAGA signed a letter that went to Trump yesterday. No, they went to the Senate yesterday saying, please stop this disastrous bill. We didn't realize that all of our states would be losing money massively. I sent you the article. It's what 300,000 people are going to die in 10 years because of the changes they're making in environmental laws. And it's an enormous amount of money. And people won't, but that's right. We'll be grabbing each other's hair and throwing each other across the hallway. For sure.
Good morning, Deanne. Jill, be safe. It's rough.
It's so bad. I got up when I was going to bed. I have to go by my work desk, and so I said, "Well, I'm just going to stop and throw a garden on kind of where we are as a collective." And there it is. And the way the stones line up. These four are telling one part of the story, and this is the answer. And we've got the amethyst is in present, and our values, spiritual changes are happening right now. This is going to change a lot of people's minds, and it's not going to be the way Trump thinks. They're going to think I'm strong. And our minds are standing between final thoughts are coming, and our thoughts are all important right now. And the physical changes, there's going to be a real change in how the collective views what's going on here, period. And in fire, we have our clarity, which said people are going to fall back on the things they've used before to help them get through traumas. Because this is going to be a trauma, guys. It's not going to go away overnight. But we're going to see it for what it really is, because that's why the grounding stone in water, grounding changes are setting into long-term patterns. So in other words, if people are kind of waffling about what Trump's doing before, or oh, it's not that bad, or whatever, this is going to massively change all that. This whole setup, and that's as close to politics as I'm going to let my poor little garden come. I did set out. I've got a date. If you own a garden and you watch Scott and I, you're rare because people who own gardens don't do politics, but usually. But I'm going to start a 4-week course. It's on June 16th to explain it all, where it came from, how it works. It's going to be the last final definitive course because there are no more gardens. All the gardens I ever had have been sold. I have 135 of them out there. And I sent the notes to everybody. And if you have a garden and you didn't get a note, write me at my email and I'll try to find out why. My gardens at first got distributed, not always through the store I have, but there's 135 through the store. And if you're in the group, you'll get a permanent pass to a playlist where you can always go back and see how does this work. So that was what I did this week, Scott.
I threw some cards on your garden.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the 4 of coins.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, but staying home, staying in your progress, staying, not getting out there and doing anything radical. The Ace of Michael, which is the Ace of Swords.
Swords, right.
Yeah. It's a wonderful new idea. It's also don't allow the bumps in the roads to hinder your progress. And then the 5 of Raphael, which is 5 of Wands. Everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Releasing regret and embracing. And I'm like, okay, truth coming out, new ideas, being safe, we're seeing the progress or deprogress, whatever have you want to see it, happening for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That comes in the 8 of Raphael, 8 of Wands. There's something better waiting for us. We got positive energy. Then we got the Chariot. There's
moving forward,
advancement. And then the Page of Michael, which is the Page of Swords. It's a challenge, but it can be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
From within chaos becomes, a chariot, becomes excitement, becomes passion.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good thing as long as people don't get hurt, doing what they're doing with the protest, but do it calmly, do it focused if you're going out. If you don't go anywhere, just lovely thoughts for those protesters out there that nothing bad will happen. But this is like the 5 of Wands says in that card. Everything happens for a reason, and they'll shift to a better idea.
Yeah. Well, I think for people who said, oh, well, they can kind of justify this and justify that, we kind of know at the end of the day after Vietnam, or if you read your history books, as I was reminding Scott, he was all of 2 years old when the Kent State shooting happened, because I know when he was born and I know how old he is. But after the Kent State shooting, that made people a lot more wary about what are you trying so hard for, And that shooting, it made it clear to us how totally out of line everything was. But the individuals who got hurt in that shooting, there's a young woman who was next to the kid who got shot, who's on the ground, and that her picture being in Life magazine sort of ended up messing around with her life. But also the young National Guardsman that shot him, it really messed him up forever. I think it was like 30 years later that I saw an interview with him, and he said, I finally found people who could help me deal with it, but it was awful. And I mean, National Guard is not sent out to control riots. They're not trained for it. Yeah,
that's not their
well, you were in the military. I mean, You get trained for different kinds of duties. And that's not one of the ones they do.
Ian said, a friend of mine is ex-Army said the reason why many ICE agents wear masks because many of them are J6ers who got pardoned. I don't know if they're all J6ers. I would say they're in that realm of a Proud Boy type.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen a meme relating to like many of the officers are basically those types.
Mm-hmm.
You know, many of the officers are Proud Boys themselves, just cloaked by a badge.
Well, and Ian, I realize you're in Scotland, but I live where people used to ride. Well, they probably still do out somewhere in the far reaches, ride around with masks over their faces because they didn't want people to know who they were and what they were doing because it was so reprehensible. And that's really why they're masked. You know, except we had a 3-letter word for them, KKK.
Okay. Let's start with something a little bit nicer first. Summer race is 18 months away, or whatever it is. June 17.
Okay.
Okay. Will Lindsey Graham win re-election? I'll start with that one.
Okay.
Will Lindsey Graham, South Carolina, win re-election?
Or will he finally get to go live the life he's always wanted to and put on his antebellum war gown and faint on the couch? Too early. My cards say it's too early to decide. The future shows no. Those two cards say no. But in the past, not if the high priestess has anything to say about it, but he still has the machine behind him. And you got to realize it's like Susan Collins. How could you vote for that woman? But she calls people on their birthdays, and they're small states, and they know all their constituents. So right now, there's a lot of planning on both sides, but it's too early to call. What'd you get?
Well, my guys gave me a big fat no in my mind, and the cards are saying the same.
Oh, good. I like your cards better than mine.
Yeah. We got Judgment, 10 of Swords, and the Sun.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
And then I got 2 of Wands, Ace of Wands, and a Tower.
Change. Oh, good.
So I think he'll get exposed for who he is. I think the Dr. Annie will have a good message out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think our messaging is going to be different.
I hope to God it is.
So, instead of just, a little more fighting back rather than all love and rainbows.
Or listening to them when they say, oh, I just really didn't understand what's in there. Or I voted on a bill I hadn't read.
Yeah. I was sad Lindsay lost last time, or won last time.
I'm not sure he did, but
I know. I sensed that too, but it's still wrong how he got through. But they replaced those touch screens in South Carolina. Okay, next question. Iowa governor.
I'm going to do bunnies for the state of Iowa. I've been there. It's a bunny state.
I guess the question is, will Iowa get a Democrat governor? Since COVID, Kim isn't running again, or term limit out, whatever it is. Will Iowa get a Democrat governor in 2026?
Democratic.
That one I'm not so sure about.
I don't know. Their economy could fall apart faster than you know.
Yeah.
They want China to buy their pigs.
Right. Priestess, Eight of Pentacles. It
I
looks.
got yes.
What's that?
I got yes.
Yeah, it looks good. I have no negatives on Democrat. On a Democrat winning. I have Queen of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, High Priestess, Eight of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, and Six of Swords. It kind of makes me feel like they want better. Financially, could be struggling, so it could be on their mind to want different.
Yeah, they've had what they've had, and they have actually nationally and the statewide, the people they're ready for a change. They realize they've been sold a bill of goods. Iowa's not Iowa anymore. It's not like it. It's really seeking a new path, a new change, the Ace of Swords. And it's ready for big time change.
Speaking of Iowa, what's
How
going
could you
on?
tell?
What's going on with We're All Gonna Die, Joni? What's going on with Joni? I don't see a nervous breakdown. I just think she's that evil.
Yeah.
That's
As long as she's got power. I
That's
can't
what I
believe
found.
the deal with I can't believe the deal in the cemetery.
that's the sense I was getting. Is she's just that evil. Thank you, Carrie. Bless you.
No, she thinks everything she's doing is fine. She sits in the sun. And she really doesn't care who she hurts. But this is the end of her because the two cards in here, the 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands, that when you get those wands, the 10 of Wands is when you've built it and you just throw it down. She's still in defensive posture, but it's not going to hold.
I got Two of Pentacles, Wish-washy. Empress, she thinks she's the queen of Iowa. Three of Pentacles. It's doing hard work. What does Three of Pentacles mean here?
Dark money that supports her.
Yeah, that could be. There you go. And then the other three, Ace of Pentacles. She's in a prosperous position, but that's going to end with the Death card and a change, and then Temperance. I think greater minds will proceed further on. But it's kind of funny that she talked about death and whatnot. Death card comes up.
Thank you, Carrie.
So that doesn't show nervous breakdown. Just shows she thinks she's all that in a bag of chips, and she's just that evil. Is the Orange Man retaliating against peaceful communities in California with ice raids? Because I think it's all over. It isn't just California. It may be where they're hitting now.
No, they're hitting there because I'm going to tell you what you do if you're trying to set up something politically so everybody pays attention. You pick a place that has lots of TV stations and lots of TV cameras. You don't go to Podunk, Ohio and set up something big like that. You go to a place like California where every other, all the news outlets are, and that's where you target. I mean, that's media savvy Trump. Although why he thinks that's good press, is beyond my imagination. But
yeah, I don't think evil is going to win anymore.
Mm-mm.
I mean, heck, ICE went to a construction site in Florida. It isn't just California.
And if they really want to find criminals that they can send ICE to come get, we've got Paxton. He's sitting in the Capitol. They can find him real easy.
Carrie G, can you reformat when is OS?
When
is this going to be the end? Maybe that's is.
It is and is.
True.
Scott doesn't read enough in chat. I read in chat 3 times a week, so I know.
It's it's been a long 10 years. I hear you.
Well, it's been a long 10 years. It's like
faith is running out.
I was about to go to sleep last night when I found out I'm not going to go into the saga of my phone. I have to take my poor little phone to the regional phone office because some virus took it over. And every 5 minutes it breaks in and says, let us take your blood pressure. That's not doing a lot for my blood pressure. But anyway, I opened up my phone to see, and the one thing that got through was that he'd ordered troops to California. And the only channel I could find that was covering it, MSNBC was still doing Friday's news. CNN had some good people on the ground. It was good coverage. I mean, you kind of, and they were not awfulizing it. They were saying, this is what's here. This is the community. And they showed a map of, well, a little teeny tiny part of LA. She said, if you go 4 or 5 miles from here in LA, unless they've seen it on their phones, they don't know what's happening.
Been a long 10 years, but I'm getting it's been a long 10 years, an exposure of the grift in the government.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it hasn't taken so long, I kind of feel like Biden's administration didn't work hard enough to axe the corruption. They try to do things normally. They try to do things, democratically, when they should have took a tougher stand on the corruption in government.
They should have sent troops in to they should have sent ringed the house that on January 6th, pushed troops in, gathered them all up, arrested all of them. Lawn or not, they should have arrested all of them and made them. And I can tell you what's freaking them out now is judges are starting to talk about going against the government lawyers that are not doing their part. You put one of their lily white asses in jail, and the whole thing's going to crumble because they're just
right.
their own aggrandizement. And I've got that Trump's still working real hard to be just as obnoxious as he's always been. And I got the Ten of Swords, and the Ten of Swords reverse means it's really, really over, and there's no balancing it back. But I think part of what's pissing the country off is how the Page is the Page of Swords and the Page of Cups, and it's that how immature the people are that he has around him. I mean, I don't know if you saw the little clown that they put in charge of terrorism in the U.S.
I've seen a little 22-year-old now.
Yeah, have you seen his picture?
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like every guy that walked up to you on campus and you said, oh, please go, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking.
Yeah.
Now, guys, when I was young, I was a cutie, so I could say that. But.
So I did a full read, so I got more.
Okay, go.
All right. So moving forward, we have wishes fulfilled. My Democrat card, 9, 10 of cups. Then the Hermit. There's been mistakes, but we're still waiting for spiritual enlightenment. And then this card is all about waiting for reward. We need more spiritual enlightenment to get our wishes fulfilled. And it takes time. It takes plucking one soul after another slowly to make it work. So in the end, I think we're finally there. We're getting there finally.
Mm,
Queen of Coins is the patient, artistic,
mm.
resourceful one. Then we have justice and judgment. And then we have loss. So I think we're finally there. We're finally at the end of that cycle. But it just took so long.
And I believe somebody said, this isn't just evil, this is darkness. And I believe that that's true.
Yeah.
And that's what the only real kind of long-term readings I do with Jeffrey. We put them up every Friday. We look for the week ahead. And it was last Fridays that we said this was going to be the time when we're going to begin to feel the darkness lifting. I mean, just in dramatic ways, because before then it had looked a little bit grim. But now it's looking better.
In the bottom, I had the Grim Reaper. I had the Grim Reaper coming in the bottom.
Good.
So we got a death. Timing, who knows? I do sense a huge shift this year, but I think we're finally at the end of the cycle. We just need people that keep plucking enlightenment into people. There's still a lot of people that are in denial. Every once in a while I see little TikToks or little Instagram posts that some of these MAGAs are still lost.
Well, they're going to be. I mean, I remember in 2004, going in that election cycle, a guy came up to me when I was working an event just trying to explain about candidates. And he started yelling at me about the U.S. government and how it was doing this and that. And I said, could you slow down long enough to explain to me exactly what you're talking about? He was talking about Jimmy Carter. This was 2004. Some of these guys, they get one thing in their head.
True. But anyway, yeah, Debbie's got it right. There won't be a draft.
No.
Well, who's Elroy Jensen? Jetson Carey. I don't know who that one is.
I have no idea.
Or is that Elon?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think he got hit. Something slowed his roll within 24 hours. So
yeah, he went all full revenge and then deleted everything bad he said on his Twitter.
Yeah, but it's always out there no matter what.
Yeah, the screenshots and backup is still there, but he's trying to delete everything and be a decent, well, not decent, but even killed with the Trump administration.
There's a YouTuber who's a board certified anesthesiologist, and he talks a lot about mixing medication. I watch him because he talks about diet things, but he talks about medications that can trigger you up. Anyway, I've never seen him say anything that where I would know where he was politically, except I assume from some of his stances he's more liberal, or maybe it's just because I want him to be. But he got on and he did, okay, now you see why. If you have a family member using ketamine, you need to stop them. And he did a whole thing about, as a person who uses those kinds of medications and knows how to observe people's behavior, it was a whole thing on, it wasn't long, but it was on Elon Musk's meltdown. And he said that was as much the drugs as anything else.
Will he release anything?
No.
I really don't think so, but the cards say he's had enough. So in the past here, he's had enough. He wants better support because he had a tower. Page of Coins, he did release something. So there was a drastic change and he wants more support. most likely for his businesses here. He wants to change and take charge of more of it, all that negative press, whenever. So he's kind of going on revenge mode.
Yeah.
But he wants to revive Tesla more so than anything. Chariot here is all about vehicles. The Hierophant here feels like his companies, not our government. In the end, Illusion Delusion, Dark Times, Page of Swords. So I don't think so. There may be something there, he knows, with the Page of Swords and the darkness and going through bad times, but I think he's going through bad times himself. The Seven of Cups also with this can be the drug stuff we're talking about. So I think he's got his own challenges, let alone trying to release anything he may know, but he doesn't want his companies to go downhill so far, because if Tesla plummets, I mean, he's seen the stock price plummeted when he was having his meltdown. And goes down too far, he's going to lose his CEO-ship. So
right. And in his heart of hearts, I think he knows he went way too far when he was going to stop the Dragon, the spaceship, that can be taken over by the military in 2 minutes. I mean, and that's his whole thing, is going into space.
Okay.
What are we doing next?
No, he's looking. Yeah. Tesla, or the Cybertrucks, are an abomination. Can't believe people buy
They
these
look
things.
like some tanks that the Germans had in the late 30s.
Curiosity had a question out of the U.S. Let's see what this means.
Okay.
See something serious coming for Kuwait, UAE, or Middle East in the coming months. Something serious.
Okay. I'm going to take to the end of the year.
Okay. Good morning, Linda. Thanks for dropping on. Calling Elroy. You forget Elroy's high a lot. He'll mess up. Probably will. The dude really needs a detox.
He needs to be put in a hospital room with RFK Jr. And they can swap delusions.
Actual.
They're going to kill so many Americans. They're going to kill so many people, period.
Okay. We see something serious for Kuwait, UAE.
I'm going to use a different deck. My bunny said I'm tired. I don't want to talk about these guys anymore.
What? Is there anything we should know about? Bless you, Carrie. Thank you. Weird.
So that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah, it's a big area, but I don't know. What could be happening? There's I don't really think it's serious, but it feels like they're not all on the same page. Because I get the Chariot card, and the Four of Wands with a transition or some dark times coming. So it's like they're not all on the same page about something. And then I got some restrictions this summer with agreements. So Eight of Swords, Ace of Cups, and my Three of Coins with some documentation, working together kind of feeling. But something's restricted there this summer. And then I finish off with intelligence coming together. So there is something coming, but everything works out later. King and Queen of Wands is kind of like a marriage of partnerships with governments. But there is some kind of messy divorce on the bottom of the deck with a tower or some kind of change. So it's like the summer may be difficult, but then it all works out. Whatever's going on, I really don't get a sense what it is because I'm blank when I ask. I do think it's going to be hot again. Like blinding heat this summer again.
Oh, okay.
You know, like they were calling for like 130 degrees or something last year or year before, or whatever it was.
Well, it is a desert.
True, but that's extremely hot, whatever it was.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's climate change. And it's their effing fuel that made it happen. So I'd like them to broil, not me. I live in the wrong state. Okay, whatever the answer to this is, the outcart, the bottom of the deck was, it's something that's being planted now that we're not aware of. Okay? And I see this is a yes. It's a sun reverse, but it's a yes, something's happening. And it's because there's a really strong, emotionally driven disagreement between them. And we're not going to see any signs of it till this fall. The Ace of Swords. And and whatever it is, we're going to see one of them take a deep slip in the quality of their life and how things, that's the Eight of Pentacles. And then it kind of depends on how they want to work with it. That's the Eight of Cups. And because of the numbers that are in there, we're at 2s right now, but when it comes to the end of it, it's 7s and 8s. So they'll be, the higher the number in the suit, the closer it is to having a real answer. So I think it's going to come up quickly with the Ace of Swords too. But we actually don't know what it, well, you and I, Scott, and people out here, unless you're part of the intelligence community, you have no idea what's going on with these guys.
Very true.
You know, my friend that used to be a spy, he lived in Colorado, and he told me he was moving his whole family to upstate New York. And I said, well, New York's a safe state too, but he's Jewish. And he said, no, Colorado's not going to be safe. And he was very active in the Jews learning how to fire guns and how to really protect themselves. I mean, he took it all very, very seriously. He created a nonprofit that helped people learn how to protect themselves. And I'm going to preface this by saying he's not a paranoid person. He's actually very intelligent. And well, it's our intelligent paranoid people, but he worked in the Pentagon and stuff. Anyway, I just said, what do you mean? He said, I just feel I need to get my family out. So he was driving this week to New York, and his family's flying to there. And people he knew were burnt by that guy that threw the flamethrower on him in Boulder. That was his group.
Wow.
And he has militarily cancer related to serving in the military, and he's now, I think, in remission again. Anyway, he's, you know, and I asked him how bad, I'll listen to him about how bad he thinks things are going to get. And he thinks he's really seeing things from the dark side at the moment. But he's also, if you watch any of Sean's shows, the show Sean did on Israel, he helped Sean work that show out, understand all the characters in it, about Bibi and what's happening there. Now, charges against Kilmar. What do you see?
Okay. What did I? The energy is Two of Swords over the Chariot.
Mm.
So a compromise, a difficult choice. The Chariot is taking charge, but it can be conflicting forces too. So I got two cards going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Two of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, and Page of Wands.
Mm-hmm.
So we got burdens, balancing, and Page of Wands is basically the news.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward here, current situation, Six of Cups and the Fool. So we got new beginnings, things from the past, what is true here. Five of Wands, moving forward, petty conflicts. Two of Wands is a future planning. And Three of Cups, we got a celebration. Outcome, Eight of Wands of progress. Queen of Swords. I think isn't his lawyer queen, female?
Yeah.
I think, but so we got lowering, intelligence, Three of Wands, and King of Swords. Will it go? This kind of shows it's not true, is my sense of what I threw. But it does show something in the past here with that Six of Cups. Six of Cups, Two of Swords, Fool. So he did something foolish. He did something in the past that may be difficult to work out. But it shows everything works out in the end. King of Swords would be the judge. Queen of Swords, his lawyer. Eight of Wands is good news, unexpected good news. And Three of Wands is kind of like helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't show him going to prison.
No.
But there might be something they may have to give up. You know, like a plea deal of something, of probation or something. Yeah, because it does show something he did in the past he may have to atone for. But it isn't criminal. I mean, of the sorts of imprisonment.
Mm-hmm.
So what do your cards think?
My cards are like two readings. This is who we think the guy is. He's the Empress. He had a happy family, and he was rebuilding a good life. And then the next part of the reading is the prosecution that's come up against him. It's not going to work. Their wishes are not going to come true. It was based on a lie. The Two of Wands, they got people saying, and their devil nature is going to be shown up in this. So when I read this, when I read it in two parts, he's going to come out smelling like a rose. And I said, okay, am I reading this right? And on the bottom of the deck, it was, they had to come up with some kind of fight because they couldn't just bring him back. So they made this up, and whatever they've made up is obviously so made up. And I've always seen this, he'll never live in America again. He'll come back and face the charges, but there's a South American country that's going to take him. But it's going to really show what a-holes that put this together on him.
Yeah.
No, they can't.
Well, they are stripping regulations. There might
Right.
be.
Until Congress comes back and says, no, we passed that. So if nothing else, if you just want to have air you can breathe and not just see, you're going to have to figure out what Democrats you can support in your area and how you can make it happen. And Congress is going to write the laws a lot tighter than they've been writing them. Yeah, this one came in through my posting.
Can you do a reading on whether or not the current administration will be decertified?
Yeah. That's based on the lawsuit that's coming out of upstate New York where Kamala got no votes. And because I don't want to go into all of it, but if you want to read a really good summation of what all that case is about, I sent the case on to Sheila at Celtic Tarot. She did a deep dive and she wrote a very good, long post. It's not a show you can sit through, but she wrote about how that case treats other states and what it could mean. And it could mean the decertification.
Yeah, that's why I was texting someone about this. Actually, she's in the comments, but and she asked about that case in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got, it starts the dominoes.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it was built the way it was built.
So, can this current administration, what's going to happen with lawsuits?
Well, that's not good for him. Oh, dear. This is great.
Crazy. Is it good crazy or bad crazy?
Oh, this is wonderful.
Okay. God. This manipulation and deception and cheating has been done before in the past. 6 of Cups.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment and 8 of Wands. Then I get 6 of Wands. There's some good news. An authority figure, the Emperor, and then Strength. So we got an order, good news order from it could be a sitting judge, sitting appeals court, something. Moving forward, get the Fool. Taking a leap of faith, 3 of Pentacles in order, and the Truth with the Ace of Swords. Outcome, Page of Swords. Some new stuff. Page of Pentacles, new. Page of Cups, new. The pages are like new orders coming out.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them. Not wands, not just talking about. These are things.
This is it happening. The message coming through.
Yeah, these are coming. And and then I got a Queen of Wands. Bottom of deck, 4 of Swords means we still got to wait a little bit.
Thank you, Deborah.
But yeah, these are all pages with new orders coming through, starting anew.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you all get?
Well, I get the sun right side up or upside down. The answer is yes. And it's upside down. But these are the cards. This is why I was laughing. Death.
Nice.
Them sitting looking at the 5 of Cups, can't figure out quite what to do. Page of Swords shows up, sending a new message. And the conclusion is the Tower. That's yes, 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 yes.
Yours is more simple.
Yes.
My full read was a little more
Well,
complicated.
your cards are interesting. They're just more complicated. And then in some ways they give more nuance. Mine just says their butts are going to get kicked out of here.
Yeah. Trying to get to the full story and what said, but well, it worked for me.
And the 5 of Cups can mean a delay because somebody has to sit and consider and decide what to side with. So,
Yeah, I got that sad 4 of Swords. So that's laying back, little delays, but those are our courts, right? Delay, delay, delay. Nothing happens in a second. Okay, we did that. Is it LA a distraction? What's going on? Or did we already talk about this?
we talked about it in regards to is it a distraction because he really doesn't want a lot of people on the streets except in DC on the 14th. And it strikes me that the week before a lot of people are thinking about going out and marching, could he take what he's done in LA and turning it on peaceful marchers? Authoritarians have been known to do that before. So that's why I would take it.
Isn't the No Kings all around the country?
Yes.
So it's not just DC. So
No, and they don't want it all over the country. They don't want it outside. In Texas, we have a particular habit of marching in front of their congressional offices. So
distraction. I just threw out 6 cards here to see what truth and consequences here. Page of Swords can be bringing out new military actions. And then Ace of Coins is more about prosperity. So it kind of cancels out any distractions here with that. Truth and clarity with the Sun. 5 of Coins and King of Coins. So any movements here are going to be counterproductive to what he wants. So tackling out a distraction, it's feels like more of a force of power, but with this, it's going to be nullified. It isn't going to work.
I think it was stupid because right as they were rolling that story out is when Elon was taking all of his posts down. So if they'd left it alone, the whole story would have been, oh, Elon's taking all his posts down. No, nobody's paying any attention to that. Anyway, what I got was, it was a movement of illusion and delusion, 7 of Cups. And it's the downside of someone's emotional tantrum came straight from the Hierophant. And we all know who that can be at times. And he's trying to play with the timing of the Wheel of Fortune, but he's going to end up with the 5 of Pentacles being out in the cold. I think the move's going to hurt him more than you want. That's true, Celtic Seer. Thank you. Celtic Seer is a very good astrologer. So,
wow, currently 1,500 marches planned for No King's Day,
including in places like Idaho and Wyoming. I mean, bastions of liberalism.
Well, I have my granddaughter's first birthday party on No King's Day, so I'll be enjoying her next Saturday. Well, it's out there, Celtic. Democrats say it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle by MAGA that doesn't They don't look. They don't read. In that big beautiful bill, they want to put $300 million just for 45 to go golfing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We got names in here I don't know. Who's Candy Nobles?
What, account chatting?
Yeah, Perot ass backwards. That's some.
That's Gramps Day. Yeah. Next day is Father's Day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Father's Day is my grandson's birthday this year. Well,
Thanks, Dan.
Will Alonso? No, because it would require a lot more organization than I think he's really capable of, unless he's got a good board behind him, and I don't think he does. And just off the top of my head, I'll tell you guys, having worked in this world for a long time, all third parties do, at least where I live, is hurt Democrats, because it gives wounded Republicans a place to go home and say, well, I'm going to vote over here. But they don't really come to terms with decisions they've made in the past. We have two secondary parties, Libertarians and the Green Party. And the Republicans always support the Green Party to drain votes away from the Democrats. And Democrats always support Libertarians to drain votes away from Republicans. And I just think you should vote for who you believe says it. And there was someone who said, yeah, but Andrew Yang can't do anything either.
It takes a lot of money, a huge infrastructure, but I get death.
Mm-hmm.
Along with the other cards, they may think about it and talk about it, but it's not going to be a full functioning thing.
I get that it takes too much balance to make it go. And then
Andrew Yang is worthless.
Yeah.
I never liked that guy.
Andrew Yang is like Tulsi Gabbard. Show me where the money is. That's the reason he's in government at all.
Just a tech bro with money and a voice.
I think he's had some good ideas, but the problem is, even if you were to get a third party to run in there, then what do you do? Because you think people are making deals on the Congress now. You wait till I have to deal with that. Did she find it? Oh, sweet darling Lulu, did she find it? Her mind?
She has done some wacky things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what the cards say.
Okay.
Losing your mind, or is it her plan? Her ex staffers were made to have fake accounts to boost her profile instead of actually work. Crazy girl.
Is she up for election again?
What's that?
Is she up for election again?
Not till 26. Losing her mind. 9 cards do not say she's losing her mind.
But she's trapped by somebody. She got the 8 of Swords as the most prominent card in her reading. And actually, if you look at that 8 of Swords, she's trapped by her own image. So, what?
Somebody thinks you might be running for governor.
Of what?
South Carolina. Oh, good Lord.
I just get that she's trapped by her own image. So
Yeah, she's got problems. I got the 5 of coins. I think she's got some depressional stuff from an ex. 5 of coins, King of Swords, and the 2 of Swords kind of problems card. My 5 of coins, I put in here medical stuff too. So she could have a drug imbalance or something, but it deals with some severe problems from a breakup. But as far as losing her mind, I don't get like the 7 of Cups or Moon or that kind of feeling. But I think she may be using some kind of substances to make her feel better. But she thinks she's doing right by what she's doing. Balance her own universe. Other than that, it doesn't show she's cuckoo. I think, yeah, she's trying to master her own image.
Well, I'm sure Kay Granger did too, as she slipped into dementia. No one bothered to mention to her, and they kept her in office without telling anybody.
It's true.
I met her. She wasn't a bad person. You could touch her and you didn't want to shrink away. So,
okay.
July stock market?
How is the stock market going to do moving forward? On again, off again. Tariffs. Is it going to?
Every day on the stock market is Taco Tuesday. Trump always caves in.
Stock market. Just show me a fall. In the fall, it could plummet.
Yeah, I don't get the summer that it's going to be a problem.
Early fall, there's a drop for some reason. There's some instability. And then it comes back up. It feels like August, late August. They don't really show me now like a big plunge. Like happened when he first started announcing tariffs. There's some kind of insecurity in the United States around that time.
No, just a lot.
Maybe we're trying to form a new government.
It's too much movement. I have 2 knights. I have the Knight of Cups versus the Knight of Swords. Do we stay with what feels emotionally safe, or do we move into new territory? And new territory is the furthest. And the issues are going to come up during the summer. But we're not going to die from it. That's the 3 of Swords upside down. So,
I got prosperity this summer. And then craziness in the by October, the moon, the fall.
Yeah, well, even if they decertify this summer, they have to figure out what kind of government we're going to have. And the world may give us a bit of grace on that, considering what we're getting rid of. But a lot of it also depends on what's happening in the rest of the world.
So this kind of shows like a crash in the fall, and then a little bit of heartbreak this winter. So the summer, for some reason, feels kind of stable. But then we have take some bumps throughout the winter and then levels off again. So maybe that's a sign of when things may go crazy in our government's structure. That things of this administration are going to start going nuts end of this summer. Hey, Linda. Hour and 5. Okay. There's a complaint filed with the bar, just a complaint about Pam Bondi and her suspect choices as AG. What's the future for Pam Bondi and her bar license?
I have a friend who's a paralegal, and she's filed it in the DC courts about the illegal action she's taken. She said, "Have you filed that yet?" And I said, "You're the paralegal, not me. I don't file those things, but you can." Actually, you can go and look and see where she has a bar license. And some states, it's easy. You just fill out the form and your reasons. I don't know that they pay that much attention to non-legal people, but.
Cece said she heard the Florida bar does not said they don't act on current elected officials.
Oh dear. Well, they may not be working on her, but I got her in card is the Page of Cups is going to come. And then she's got the Tower. And then she's got the World, which is the ending of things. And then her Chariot's not moving anywhere. And her out card is someone's going to bail her out, and she's not going to spend time in a striped suit or anything. But I have a feeling she's going to get it.
So,
yeah, cute little bunnies. Oh, and she's expecting it. She's sitting there as the hangman. So,
some reason she thought she'd be in like Flynn by doing what she's doing right now. Moving forward, Chariot, 5 of Swords, and my bad karma, broken, toss aside heartbreak card. So yeah, eventually it'll come around. You will get some bad news. Justice will happen by someone above her. This magician could be the bar association or something, but she will get her just due when the time is right. But on the deck, I do have judgments against her. My subpoenas and
thank you, Carrie G.
Document cards and whatnot. Vipers. Put the cards back. Random. Okay. Looked at that. Looked at that. Looked at that. Looked at that. Well, the people who are being returned to Afghanistan, so yeah, they ordered all those, what was that, like 500,000 that the Biden administration granted?
I don't think it was that many, but yeah, it's a lot.
It was a lot.
I think they're going to get taken into European countries.
These are men who helped our troops. what's gonna. Yeah, I think you're right. I see them somewhat safe,
I
but
see that the plane, they're thinking a plane's going this way and the plane's going north. So I don't think they're going to let them, because they were not just the U.S. troops. We let them in this country, but they helped people in all the countries that fought in Afghanistan.
yeah, I think there's something else because I don't see them going back to harm's way. There may be assistance from other countries or something to help, but just horrifying. You start a life, 18 months in and just say, nope, you're done.
I was listening to one of the Latino mouthpieces, one of the Cubans, and she kept saying, well, it's only people who were admitted in the last 5 years under Biden that they're going after. That she said they were not going after families that had clearly come here and established their life before then. And then she said, and now it's been reported to her that it's families in California that have been here 10 years and more. And they did save our military lives. And not only is it difficult with that, but it means if we ever go in another country, God forbid, that anybody would ever trust us to do anything.
Well, who would now?
Well, not with who's in charge.
I'm going to ask, what's the relationship between these two now?
Oh, that gives me a stomach ache. I'm going to.
You kind of get an idea how it's going to move forward.
Oh, I know what I'm going to read. I'm going to read it in the Housewives Tarot. How perfect that women in 1950s aprons. And I'm going to ask, will they ever make up? Because it means that they both have to survive a period of time, and I don't see that either.
The relationship was only built on money.
Mm-hmm.
The Hermit's Strength and Queen of Coins. The Strength card in this deck shows someone else is riding someone else's back,
Mm-hmm.
taking them for a ride. So I think Trump was just riding Elon.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward, I have Nine of Cups, Love, the Lovers, and Two of Wands. This too, someone's getting kicked out into a bucket or a basket or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the party's over because the end I get the Devil. Someone's getting kicked to the curb with the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The Fool going on New Jersey's. Someone wants them to stay, but they're going. And the Five of Coins, ruined. There's ruined, so I don't think it's going to be a makeup session. It's been damaged.
It'll only happen if someone really twists their arms and says you're going to hide your knives from each other. But their whole thing was based on they could build each other up mutually, and I think neither of them's going to be around to. So that's what I get is I love this picture of the lovers. It's like Thelma and Louise going in the canyon. That's the ride they're on. And you were saying how Trump was riding his little hobby horse. Look at the card I pulled. The Page of Wands.
Yeah.
I love those cards. They remind me of my youth. That's ever get a spine.
Yeah. Honestly, Lorraine, sweetie, what else can they do? Many of them are speaking up as much as they can. They have no voting power right now or committee powers.
Mm-hmm.
All they can do is speak. I see Jeffries out there doing it, and AOC, all of them.
Jasmine Crockett's hardly as. Oh, Singing Tree, it's the 18th. Somebody said I said the wrong date. I probably did.
The only spine I wish they had is consistently vote no on every single cabinet position. None of them deserve to be in there.
No.
They should have stuck together and voted no on everything. Tourism shot. Tourism's way down. No one's, as far as normalcy, no one's coming. Everyone put travel warnings on the U.S.
Told them to buy a burner phone, not to bring in their own cell phone because they're searching.
Yeah, Pete Buttigieg is speaking. Adam Schiff, his YouTubes, they're all posting. Blessings, Lorraine. Democrats are just in a difficult position right now. With the way it turned out. Okay, Gavin.
I don't know how they can. I've seen this posted before. And as a tax accountant, I worked for a company that if it could figure out a way to withhold its taxes, it did. And I don't see a way they could do it.
There's a give and take there. I mean, I'm seeing like, it's like, I think he can do it. I sense it. It's kind of like if they withhold this much funds that would supposedly come back, they'll just withhold it and put it in a different account until he stops being dumb.
But the people send it in directly. Their taxpayers send it in directly.
Let's see.
When have you sent your taxes to the state of Wisconsin before you paid the feds?
Yeah, the employer does it. True. Yeah,
and we all have to realize for big business, they get rid of Social Security. They get back for each employee the money they put into that fund. So that's why they want it.
Newsom said he will instruct businesses to pay their taxes to the state instead of the federal government.
Well, now you know why Doge wanted all those records. Who owed us in that?
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like there's a way or something.
I'm sure there would be, but I'm saying as the mechanism works now.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Can't wait to get rid of the liquor cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then how are we going to have a toddy when we're toasting our cups in celebration? Is Chinese hackers in the U.S. government smartphones going to stay a big
problem? I don't know that. I can ask if they're being investigated. Will they end up in trouble? Because this is a story I know nothing about.
course, I'm not understanding the question. If they hacked,
the U.S. government's smartphones. Are they going to stay in big trouble? Well, can't imagine why they wouldn't, but I don't know how they would go get them. So. I'm just going to ask if they're in big trouble, if someone's going to be able to get a hold of them.
I miss Sleepy Joe too. Common sense and stability.
No, because I can't figure out how to get a hold of them. 7 of Cups, reversed.
I don't know. I got nothing bad.
I don't get anybody coming and getting them. I just get a lot of confusion around it.
The only bad card I got on a 9 was the 5 of Wands, which can be confusion. I think the government will hold it or whatever. Figure it out. Must be an article in AP. It might be easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Can't understand why Starlink installed in the White House. Easier for Doge, I guess. Direct line to Russia. The attacks on Medicaid and the big beautiful bill ultimately bring about Medicare for all. Would good come from bad? That's going to take a bigger, lovelier spread here. Okay. What's going on with big beautiful?
It's the medicine, the way that insurance is being set up. Will this alter it for the better? Is that okay? Oh my God. Does it? Good Lord. I've got bringing it into balance, bringing the situation in balance. It's a Wheel of Fortune for the 2 products. It's going to take a while. This is the Hermit card where they have to kind of go off and decide what to do. And there's going to be a lot of fighting about how to divvy it up. But in the end, it's going to stop a lot of the robbery that's happening now out of the insurance schemes. So I get that turns out to be a yes.
A lot of anxiety right now. 2 of Wands and King of Swords. Yeah. They're trying to take a sledgehammer to Medicare. Current energy is 7 of Coins, 4 of Cups, and the Moon. They're trying to be sneaky and hide what to pluck into this bill. Moving forward, 9 of Coins is stability. Knight of Coins can be an honoring a bill or prosperity. And then Knight of Wands. A lot of good energy moving forward.
Yeah.
9 of Coins is my balance card of everything. Outcome, I get 7 of Wands, the resistance. The Wheel of Fortune is positive change and karma. 8 of Coins, working on a new progress. And then 8 of Wands. So eventually, yeah, that shows many proponents against it with that 7 of Wands, but it shows work trying to make it better eventually. Yeah.
I think it's shown every flaw, everything that people who've watched this legislation for a long time have said, well, that was a mistake.
Well, we would need good people there
to fix it, to be right.
And it's obviously not going to happen now.
Not tomorrow, and not by next Friday.
And not by this administration.
Oh dear. I'm getting them quoting lyrics to us, can I say? What fun.
God. ABC suspended Terry Moran for tweeting that Stephen Miller isn't the brains behind the scenes, he's the bile. Good Lord, these people.
Says a news network that doesn't have as many viewers as Midas Touch. So
okay. I did that. And I did that. Okay.
I'm trying to follow. I mean, I'm so far behind in reading. It's true. It doesn't bode well for he and Alon have a chart that very much alike. So. And I don't do astrology, and I know that.
I briefly seen a clip this morning of Langford. The only common sense he had was trying to create the bill for the border. And then he says stuff like this on Fox News, this lying this morning.
Oh, well.
Oh, good, Deanne. Just chill. Cool off.
Sometimes you ask questions that sound to you like obvious questions, but they're not yes, no's, and that's very difficult to read in a short reading. So, like, what will be the end of the world is not a great question to ask us. We need someone who can say yes, no, and put some defined edges on.
All right. Bring out your inspiration cards, because let's just call it a day here.
Uh-oh.
I'm out of starred questions, and we're almost at 1:30.
Uh-oh. Someone's desperate.
Inspire us for the week.
I'm going to use my witching hour oracle. It's a real pretty deck. Got some really, it's a very nature based.
Show me some witches.
No. That's worshiping nature, don't you know?
Okay. What we need to know for the week.
Oh.
I got the Knight of Swords. It's the Prince of Winter. There's some rough energy this week.
Mm-hmm.
Sudden unexpected changes. The Queen of Cups, the Queen of Summer here. Stay in the loving and the comforting and emotional mind. Listen to your heart. And then Unity.
Mm-hmm.
The Hierophant card. Doing the right thing for the right reasons, a traditional approach, and staying in that spiritually minded community. So it seems like something may go off the rails this week.
Mm-hmm.
Make you a little upset, but make sure you stay in community and listen to your heart and stay in love and focus. What'd you get?
I got the Coven card. And this is the soul family, acceptance of putting yourself out there for the family you choose. A coven is the family you choose, which supports you in ways that extend you beyond any one ritual or spell. It's a connection that is richer than friends. It's in alignment with people who share a soul mission. You have to be in a soul mission if you're watching this on Sunday morning. The thread connecting this family to the family of the divine and aligned with you, part of the universe, and it's possibly brought these people into your life. So it's a time, I think it's going to be, I think a lot of grim, I agree, a lot of difficult for us to understand stuff. We're going to be seeing that out there. The other thing is, don't look at it. I managed to rather sublimely drift through this week until last night when, trust me, my guides make sure I know what's going on. There's a lot of interesting energy entering the world right now, because Tuesday I'm doing a show with Dr. Gale. And Dr. Gale's working with elementals. She does a lot of work with the galactics, but she also works with the elementals. And she and I have been working on, for the last 2 months, a disruption around households. And when we finally, she said, what is making the noise on the roof of this house? What's freaking the dog out? And when I thought about it, all I could see was big hairy feet and big hairy legs going back and forth across the house. And finally, through something she did, anyway, not to, all of it, we got back to orcs. If you don't, orcs, O-R-C, they're mythical. We call them mythical creatures. All my elementals are called mythical creatures. But they were part of the original life forces that were on the earth from the time of Pangea. And they are shapeshifters and earth shifters. And through a series of things, they became evil. We know them mostly through Tolkien, who he said they were elves Sauron had turned into evil servants. But they're big, hairy-looking guys that look a lot like, carrying very Viking-looking tools. And I just found it interesting that from 3 different parts of the country, I had people calling me saying, this weird stuff's happening around me. Can you help me? And in the middle of all that, a friend of mine called me and said, what have you been talking about people today about? And it was the day I thought my cat was dying and had to take it to the vet. My cat's not dead. But I thought, were you picking up? Because she knows the cat. I said, you were picking up the cat. Having a conversation with people. And so I told her the circumstances around one of the people who'd been affected by the orcs. And she said, do they live like in the southeastern United States? And I said, yeah, they do. And she said, well, they brought it out of the Appalachian Mountains. And she had an independent, quite totally different thing 2 months ago of seeing that a lot of elementals are coming out of the woodwork. And not all elementals are good. So we're going to have a show on Tuesday about our vision of the coming of the orcs. And I find it interesting that the orcs are coming out when Elon's unmasking Trump and they're all falling apart. And that's ultimately what happens to all the evil critters. They all get together and think they're all strong, and then Bilbo Baggins gets them. So I'm just saying it's a very interesting time. Be careful of the energy that's around you. The best way to not attract in the negative energy is 1, not go near it, and 2, don't dwell on it.
Definitely.
you know.
Oxford Cast asked about the parade, a smoke screen for resources to Russia. I get no.
No.
I threw some cards quick just to confirm, but no, restricted. Wanting to, but restricted, it would be a mistake.
Oh,
So I don't see that happening.
yeah, that's, and anybody who's in Europe, if you hear them playing the Nutcracker a whole lot on the radio, means that they're about to say Putin's dead. So that is weird. I think that's weird, but it's apparently true.
Okie dokie. Slava Ukraine, yes. Prayers, keep the prayers for them.
And they're doing a kick-ass job under the worst of circumstances.
All right. Blessings, everyone. Have a great Sunday, and thanks for hanging.
Bye.